Hi there, and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue with my box set reviews, and I think this is the last one that I have that's worth sharing. Actually, just the last one that I have. I had gone over this one kind of in short order, and I only went over it because it was the one that came out before this one did, but I have a lot of comparisons to make from this to this one, and this one I'm going to be showing tonight is 20th century Lindsey Buckingham. 20th century Lindsey, I guess. And this one was a really nice box set with 4 LPs in it. It was Law and Order, Go Insane, Out of the Cradle, and some Lindsey Buckingham rarities. Now, this one came out in 2024. And this one also, I think, came out on CD. I'm pretty sure. I just really don't buy the CDs. I mean, I used to always get CDs and vinyl when I could. I went through a CD phase, as you all know. You watch all my videos if you go back that far, interested in that kind of stuff. But this one again was a must-have for the vinyl. Now this one did indeed have a signed insert, and I'm pretty sure I don't have it in here, which is really unfortunate because I think I took it out to frame it or to be safe because, and I'm really, you know how I am about keeping stuff together, but I was just worried about every time it went in and out having it smushed. And it was this picture. I don't think it had any font on it or anything like that. It was just signed by Lindsey. So it was just really neat to have the box set signed and the LPs. And like I said, I think this one was around $100, maybe $120, but pretty inexpensive for a box set these days. So the first thing I want to go over is some things that I brought up last night, again, pertaining to Lindsey Buckingham's anthology, which was just a whole bunch of mixes. One LP that we had all been waiting for, you know, from back in the day, from 1992, was Out of the Cradle. And the anthology had, if I'm not mistaken, it had 13 tracks, not including the spoken intros, because most of the songs that are on the anthology, if they had a spoken intro, that's included on there. So they had 13 tracks on there, and there's 10 of the tracks on there. So we got the closest we had gotten, not knowing that in a few years later we would have this box set. But we got, 10 of the tracks from Out of the Cradle on this anthology. And the only ones that were missing from there was, well, they had All My Sorrows, so technically 11, but that's live, so it's not like the album cut. And then the other 2 would be This Is the Time and This Nearly Was Mine. Oh, I'm sorry, and Wrong. I noticed that Wrong, I was really surprised by that because it's just one of those things I'd never compared until I get to talking or thinking to myself for a video, by Wrong not being on the album. Now, if everybody remembers in 1992 when Out of the Cradles came out, it's right around the time Mick was coming out with his book and his tell-all and his affair with Stevie and, this whole, stuff that went down with Lindsey, and he hit Stevie and yada, 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 or, Stevie hit him and gone, and Lindsey wrote that song Wrong, and it was just it's just a complete "I'm coming for you" kind of song, as it well should, because there's a lot of accusations that were never exactly apologized for or cleared up, but just some things that were said that were just a little. Even Mick Fleetwood says it himself. Just we're kind of what's the right word? Like it's a little fish and it's made to be a big fish. Every time you talk about the fish you caught, it just keeps getting larger and larger. And but Wrong was a single off the album to begin with, and then additionally, it was just a real cute song to Mick, and I was a little surprised that it wasn't on the box set. And I just kind of wondered if that was a courtesy, because Lindsey is a little bit more of a gentleman that people give him credit for. He's always, thought of as just, so controlling and such an a-hole and stuff like that. But I kind of can't help but wonder if not including Wrong on the box set was Lindsey's way of just kind of like, letting bygones be bygones, and not, even though it's a song of his, just not putting it on the box set to just re-muster that whole, oh yeah, that single. Remember when that video came out and everything like that? He's real pissed off at it. I just kind of can't help wonder, because it is a single. The other thing could be is that they were deciding not to do that because little did we know later we would get the whole album, so they didn't want to put too much on there. But, maybe not putting, Castaway Dreams live, but putting Wrong or something like that would have made a little bit more sense to me than not having Wrong on there. But that's just me. For the rest of Lindsey's albums, the only other thing that we don't have on vinyl that didn't come out on vinyl at all is his next one after Out of the Cradle, which was Under the Skin in 2006. Now, on the anthology, there is 11 tracks on Under the Skin, and there is 5 of them regular on the anthology, and 2 technically, which is Castaway Dreams and Shut Us Down, that are live on this anthology. So 7 songs out of 11. So we would still want a box set, maybe 21st century Lindsey Buckingham, which would include Under the Skin, Gift of Screws, Seeds We Sow, plus another rarities would be freaking phenomenal. I would like that myself, but that's just me. But I kind of don't think we'll ever see that. I really just don't think that. I don't know. I really don't think so. I would love it because or if anything, I would love for like another record store day, or just kind of out of nowhere that we got. What do I keep saying? I keep messing up now. Under the Skin on vinyl. When it comes to this new box set, though, there really isn't much difference from the originals. I mean, if you take, this is the new one, except it's real shiny and it's brand new. It just feels so nice. But they reissued it regularly. Just the sleeve is pretty normal. The print on the inside, not colored. It's regular vinyl. But compared to mine, and I only have a promo one, fancy pants me, to compare it to, but the label's all correct, except this is a white promo. But still there's just really nothing different. They did a nice job recreating it or reprinting it, I guess, because it's not really recreated. But the only thing that is different, I want to say, nope, exactly the same, because the insert with the record, it's the same thing printed, so everything's the same on that one. So that's pretty cool. But Law and Order would probably be his least, I don't want to say his least famous, for early Lindsey work, because Trouble was such a big hit for him. And what was it? It was also on there was Trouble and Mary Lee Jones, I want to say, and Johnny Stew, I think, were the biggest ones. Maybe I'll tell you now. Who knows? But anyway, we have the first one down in the box set. So this one was really nice. Secondly, we had, again, Go Insane. And again, re-released faithfully. Everything is correct. Again, it's real shiny. I'll probably never play these, which is just kind of messed up. Maybe I would play Go Insane because, again, I have the Go Insane. I have a couple versions. This one, again, is the American version. The only difference with my original is that it has this, promotional only, but it's not really. That's just like a stamp they put on there. And then I have the sleeve, vinyl, everything like that. So it's all fine. I would just maybe save that for I don't know. I'm weird like that. Everybody's like, vinyl's meant to be played, yes, and that is true. Maybe I should just play it just for a really clear, concise sound, and just see, kind of stare. What do you call it? Sonically, is that the right word? See if if there's a difference. That I hear a difference between this one and the new one. It would be kind of interesting. But the real, gem in here, of course, for all of us, is Out of the Cradle. Now, again, Out of the Cradle, I think I already said that, with what songs were on the anthology and weren't, but Out of the Cradle, to my knowledge, was only released in Europe. I want to say it wasn't Yugoslavia, but it's somewhere weird, maybe Spain and somewhere else, but that was it. And it was like a proper release. It wasn't a bootleg or anything like that. If you remember, Stevie Nicks' Time Space, which was her greatest hits, was released on Columbia Records in tapes where you'd, send in, as old timers remember this, you'd send 10 records for a penny, but then you'd be on this plan to buy a certain amount of records thereafter. And so it was released by them on vinyl, but then the only other way to get it was in the UK. It was a foreign release. So actually, Time Space has never seen an American proper release that isn't from, what did I just say? Not Time Life, but the program. Why am I forgetting the name? It's right here on the tip of my tongue. Columbia House, or the UK, but just a regular proper thing. You could walk in any record store, in 1991 and buy it on vinyl. So there's that. But this one is a real thing. Now, this one, I immediately ripped open this packaging to play this, and it was just sonically, again, if I'm using the right word, beautiful. I have actually played this quite a bit since I've received it. And again, this came out in 2024, I want to say. Yeah. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so grateful to have it on vinyl. Do I still want the original vinyl? I really would like a copy. I've actually been talking to somebody, and she had said she had a copy, and I'm like, and she's overseas, but where do you live? What's your address? Just kidding. I would really like to have it. It's just, I've coveted it for years, and it's really not that expensive. It's about 150 American dollars. Of course it can go for way higher, but that's about an average price. But when it would show up on the internet, it was gone. So it would just not take any time at all. The only thing that's disappointing about this packaging is that there's a lot more, if you recall, on the CD or even the cassette, there's a lot more of this kind of work. They put a lot of it on here, but there's like no insert. There's no, it's just the record. There's nothing, this could have been made a little bit more packaging with the lyrics and all the kind of stuff that's in the CD version. So that's about the only thing I'd say about that I kind of was like, well, that kind of sucks. But then we get to the rarities, and it's a small amount. It's only 8 songs. But what's really cool is it has The Holiday Road, Dancing Across the USA, Go Insane, and Slow Dancing. Basically like the long plays. Not really. I mean, Holiday Road and Dancing Across the USA I don't think are that much, but those are on here as well. But the Go Insane and Slow Dancing, which I have on vinyl, those are all from Europe as well. And the Slow Dancing is super rare to come by. So having the extended version on here is really, really nice. Also, there's Time Bomb Town, which if you remember, is the other song from Back to the Future. It's, why did I just forget it? No, is that the only song? Sorry, that's the only song on Back to the Future. I'm trying to think of the other one that had 2 songs. Oh, I guess it's Holiday Road. Sorry, Vacation, Holiday Road, and Dancing Across the USA. That's right. But Time Bomb Town, I really like that song. It's just a quirky little beat. It kind of reminds me of a kind of an Eyes of the World kind of song. It's just quirky, and I absolutely love it. And then what's really nice for you Stevie Nicks fans out there is this really nice demo of Stevie and Lindsey doing Twisted, which, as you all know, is kind of when they had come back together prior to the what would that be? Is that prior to the dance? I think that was just before the dance. And they had done the song for the, actually it's not a demo. It's 1996, so I'm correct about, but it sounds different to me. So I don't want to call it a demo, but it's a different mix as far as I'm pretty sure that I'm correct about that. It's not exactly what is on the Twisted, or Twister. This Twisted is a song, Twister is the movie in the soundtrack. So it's just really nice. And there's a great picture of Lindsey on the other side. And, this kind of like the rarities for the Stevie vinyl that I talked about on that box set, it's worth the price of admission right here, just with this rarities. Not that you can't get them elsewhere, not that you can't, get a lot of it on the anthologies, but, if you had this, you really don't need this unless you want Out of the Cradle, the complete part on vinyl. What does suck with Lindsey's work again is just, not having complete with Under the Skin and stuff like that. So it would be nice if they did another one, again, as I said, with Gift of Screws, Under the Skin, and Seeds You Sow. But then we have Lindsey's, after that, we have Lindsey's, 2024 or 2021 album as well. And supposedly another one coming out soon. I mean, just right when there's talk about Stevie coming out, which, by the way, that is completely fake. I tried to keep an open mind when I posted that on my page, in my video day before yesterday or a couple days ago, whatever. And that is Stevie's people have completely shut down the fact that there's an album coming out, not on that date, not by that name purportedly, but they still didn't say there's no album coming out, just not that album, and supposedly not that. I think they nixed the date. I don't know if they nixed the title. I have no idea. I didn't mean to use that word, no pun intended. But I still believe that something will come out with Stevie, and I definitely believe something will come out with Lindsey. Lindsey's a workaholic, and even though he's enjoying his time, he's taking care of his health, thank God. I think he's going to do something with Stevie. A lot of people are real hesitant and absolutely no. I don't think they're going on tour. I don't think they're doing anything like that, but I think they might just come out with something else, a collaboration of something, or revisiting everything that really ought to have gone on the Buckingham Nicks revision, the re-release. But maybe seeing that it was as successful as everybody thought it would be for them, possibly they're just going to finally do what they ought to have done, and everything that's on the internet called the like coffee plant demos and all the stuff from Fritz and something like that. Maybe just coherently putting something together that's curated by them, agreed upon, touched up, cleaned up a little bit, and maybe released that way. That's just a guess. Definitely wishful thinking. No word on that or anything like that. But there is an alluded words out of Lindsey's mouth that Stevie and he, there's something going on. He didn't even say that they've mended all their roads or anything like that. Just that they're in a place right now where they can talk and they things like that. So again, total guesses. You didn't hear it here first or anything like that. It's not like that. Just guesses. And in talking about a solo work, I really hope he comes out with something new. I hope Stevie comes out with something new, and I hope Lindsey comes out with something new. And in my opinion, anything that they might do together is just totally a bonus. I have no expectations about any, collaboration between the two of them. But hey, it could be a collaboration with him on her album or her on his album. That could be it too. Just a simple thing, a song maybe they left off of Buckingham Nicks, and it's going to go on somebody's album. Who knows? So there's just so many possibilities with those two. But what we do know is, like I said, they're both very hard workers and they love releasing music. So I definitely think we have one, possibly two more out of Lindsey. He released so much so quickly with the, 2006, 2008, 2011. I think that, he could release a couple more still. I definitely think Stevie, I love her so much, but I think that she's been really relaxed in releasing music. I think, Stevie could be deceased for 25 years and we could still have new music. We could still have new albums from her, what with all her demos and, everything we've never heard. For all the things that are out there in the world, there's so much that's still not out by Stevie. So that's just, again, a personal opinion. But to get back to the box set, it's really a wonderful thing. It's really about, for the price of the box set, it's really 100,000% worth it just to get Out of the Cradle. In the cost that it would cost you to get this whole box set again, it would cost you to buy this. So it makes, and these are signed. Like I said, there's a signed insert with it. So that's double bonus. There's a signed Lindsey picture inside and these albums and the rarities, but it's really about having Out of the Cradle. Would be really great, again, if there was another one. I'm just putting in that universe, Rhino Records, if they did do another box set so that we could finally get Under the Skin or just release Under the Skin. So, completists like us, it's nice to have, what I say again, technically 7 out of 11 songs from Under the Skin on this anthology. 2 of them are live. So again, they're not the real cuts, but they are, from Under the Skin. But I would like to have the whole album, as a whole, obviously. So that is it, I think, for the box sets. There's nothing by Mick or Christine. I don't have any. I showed you the early Fleetwood Mac, box set that kind of went with everything else. I don't have I think there's Blues in Chicago or something like that. I think there's a couple earlier box sets like that, but I don't have any of those things. So that would be it for vinyl box sets anyway. So thank you so much for listening to me rant. Again, I'm a big Lindsey Buckingham fan as well as a Stevie fan, as you well know. And I highly think both of these are worthwhile. If you're kind of wishy-washy on a fan and aren't so crazy about having all of Out of the Cradle, I would definitely advise you to get this, even on CD. I mean, it's totally worth it on CD, which would be a heck of a lot less money. But if you're a vinyl enthusiast and you like to hear, just the sound and everything like that, one or the other. I mean, if you're a devout fan, I'm talking to, my words are falling on deaf ears because you already have it. But again, the anthology really does have a lot of it. I didn't count everything that they had off of Under the Skin, or did I? Yeah, I'm sorry. That was the tracks. But, because we do have Seeds We Sow and Gift of Screws on vinyl, but these are hard to find. So these are really hard to find, to come by. And this one is really cool because it's red vinyl. I'm pretty sure this is the one. Yeah, it is. And this is super expensive right now. This one, I don't know about Gift of Screws, but I know that this one is kind of pricey. And this one didn't even come out by a regular, this was like a limited edition by, I don't even know. Oh, Back on Black. So this was like a different, like a company put this out, a different, again, I don't believe this was a walk into record stores when it first came out and get it. I remember I had to order this. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you enjoyed this. Now we kind of have box sets out of the way, so I don't, won't be surprising you with any more videos on that unless something new comes out. And I certainly know that we have the rest of the artwork to gather up on and the Wild Heart stuff that I have kind of going back in time. But I'm getting a rush of more new stuff, so that'll be kind of going back to Mirage. And this, every time I worry that I'm going to be running out of stuff and boring you guys to death, there's still so much more incoming. And then again, all this talk and potential of a Stevie album and a Lindsey album. So that's just giving us another whole, field of dreams to work with. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody has a great night. I'll see you next time. Bye.